Okay, hopefully my mic is working. Oh, I hear myself. Let's turn that down just a little bit. Alrighty. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper. I was gonna do Little Nightmares, but I think I can't stream it that, or it just didn't want to work on me, which is fine. But here we are in Citizen Sleeper. Fucking love this game. Like, it's actually my favorite game of all time. Just like the soundtrack, all of it is so, it's so nice. It's so beautiful. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna start over on this. This will raise, yes. So we've got the Mechanist, the Operator, and then the Extractor, each with their own unique abilities. It's basically D&D in space, and I like it. It's great. I'm going to go with the Operator. Here we go. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welting from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in, behind and around you, and sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The wall of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at all, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no instant throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with a banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the others. You remember there were 10 of you. 10 that could no longer stand the indentured work, the routines, the slow decay. 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled day by day until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Wait for the cold. That's all there is now. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You're dully aware of the damage to your legs. Your right arm, you're dully aware of the damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You've spent much of that time sleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes, the cold creeps in further. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from the rigor. Sound too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light. White as cold, softer and softer until in a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. And so it begins. Dragos. Dragos? I believe it's Dragos. The pragmatic salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of the scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving elements of an improvised heater. I might have to turn down the volume on my end just a little bit. No, it's fine. You are surrounded by angular and coherent lumps of ship, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges, where plasma arcs slice them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, Sleeper, y'all thawed yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must be better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to whole plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouding in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbolic linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through here. This yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seemed lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he was just figuring out what to do with you. I plan to survive. You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, but I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you're just software, rogue emulation, illegally processing corporate property. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded onto the sleeper cells. The promise of a life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What, you think that what you... Oh, I can't speak apparently. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least, the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNR wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep a hold of you, well, no one can. You remember that too, at least rumors of it. From the other sleepers' planned adolescence, a built independence on a regularly administered supplement that were part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down, separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got some things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freighter container, old freight container I've been using as storage out in the shacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells inside you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Nod. Alright, you head up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the Rex, his drone already converging on a rusted hulk, plasma flashing, silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container located to rest and end the cycle now. Alrighty. There we go. End cycle. You wake up curled in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. The message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here. Maybe here on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn how to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a container of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images of your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it's long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Condition. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but you can also be damaged by violence, injury, or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Action dice. At the start of each cycle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to performing actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further action, must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Energy. You also need to eat to survive. This is represented by your energy bar. You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition loss. Your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and as the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder. Cache a sensor. Cache a sensor eye's rapid irising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Work. Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container, but out of the goodness of my heart. He looks away. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old holes down, sell them off to the shipyard or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes out is in scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a Sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits here commission. A few chits of commission based off what you turn up. Chits? These. He pulls out a handful of small metal bars. Air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use to trade out here. He stuffs them back in his pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quickly as you can. And Sleepers, well, he trails off. But things being the way they are for me at the yard. He pauses. I need the help. Why? Things are a bit tight. That's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nodded distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. And now, we have access to the game. And then there is that beautiful music I know and love. Okay, so I need 60 credits to get into the lower end. Tutorial actions, 1 of 2. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. To perform an action, select it with the D-pad and A, and then choose an action dice to assign. Actions award the clock, progress, energy, condition, or items depending on their own outcome. There are 3 types of outcome. Positive, action that goes better than expected. Neutral, the action just succeeds. And then negative, the action fails. Action dice affect these outcomes as followed. Obviously, it goes from 1 the lowest, and then 6 the highest. 6 being 100%, and then 1 being 50-50 of neutral and negative. And then you can see here the other odds. Actions display information about their type, risk level, and the skill modifiers that apply to that action. 1. They're either critical or repeatable. Critical actions can only be performed once. 2. Either safe, risky, or danger. Safe, no loss of condition, energy, or cryo. Risky, negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. And then danger, negative outcome means condition loss. Neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. 3. The skill that this action requires either engineer. Okay, I'd take a second because my brain didn't work for a second. The skill that this action requires either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, and engage. That's basically like charisma, strength, and all that sort of stuff, but this game's version. And then modifiers, either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted and improves its value. Some actions require a +1 to perform. So here we go. So that's so they're both repeatable. Even the rustiest hull can hide valuable components and materials. Extracting them means cutting carefully and skillfully. Manual salvage. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you are no stranger to hard labor. Let's take our gamble with the risky one. There we go. Clocks. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your... Okay, my brain didn't brain. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the ones tracking Dagon's debt, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves once each cycle and can complete without player input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Hopefully I didn't fuck that up. Tutorial, drives, and navigators. In Citizen Sleeper, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drives guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending on which path you wish to take. You can track drives, and any track drive will place a yellow marker on the location that will help you pursue your goal. Access drives with left bumper. You are now free to explore Erlin's Eye and to make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to end cycle at your home when you are out of dice. And then there's some controls. There we go. So either this is going to get negative or... Nope, we still got one. You look at us go. Hey, and we made it. Dock C4. Rotunda's wet dock. Helion Crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion system are rare, but those that do always return eventually. Okay. Okay, that's another thing. I don't got any dice. Salvage sorties. It takes several cycles to reach the starward belt and return loaded with scrap from the old wrecks. Yep, I read that correctly, totally. Bright Market. There's the Bright Market. I think I can go ahead and get to the lower end. Yes, I can. Let's go ahead and do that. And now we go back to end the cycle. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across the colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves. Threads tugging at the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in smooth black liquid. Observe it. Even though you have no eyes, no sight, you see and feel the map of the station. No, not like the map of the station, but the map of its connections. It is a looped cloud with spokes and spires that jut out into space. It is an ingrown thing full of obsolete loops and severed pathways. It is a system, a map, and a territory all at once. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in two directions at once. look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours, all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second, and you feel it waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. And here we go. Bright Market. So we are starving right now, so we do need to find a way to get food. There's the low end. Let's see what the low end's got to offer. Block maintenance, and then play Tavla. I can speak. Play a game for some cryo. You know, let's throw a dice in there. Hey, oh, -3. Oh, well, I mean, I didn't have any to give anyway, so hopefully this goes well. -3, damn. Okay, so we need a positive here. Damn, so I am very broke. Great start so far, I'd say. Alright, and now we end the fucking cycle again. Starving per cycle, 2 condition. Damn. Alright. Here we go. We're just gonna put up with it. Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring. Though these forms, they leap off into the void. You begin to understand these are nodes, connections, a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops, that it seems almost impossible to parse. But you begin to try. Focus on the threads. There are more threads than you can count, but you choose one that passes nearby and approaches you. As you inspect it, you understand why you instinctively chose the word thread. When you first saw them, they are not single line, but rough, fuzzy things woven from data strings of all kinds. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There are so many here, so many answers, so many questions. All you know to do is follow the path and open the boxes. You look out across the ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then, that instant tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see 2 lines, 2 threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They're in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. You open your eyes. Time is short. Hunted. Someone out there is tracking you. Follow your someone out there is tracking you, following your trail. It won't be long before they arrive. Damn. Tutorial. The cloud. Something has changed inside you. You You can now access the data cloud of the Eye, a network of decaying protocols and data caches. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data. Okay, apparently I can't read. While there, you can use dice and items to access systems and extract data, but be careful. These networks are old and strange. Press Y to toggle this view and on and off. Cool. Okay, I definitely need to get into the fucking bright market. Oh, I can't use that one. So, hey, there we go. So we've got Sabine and Emphas, Slum Doctor, and then the Street Food Vendor, and then Hardware Exchange. That's cool. Let's go talk to Emphas, since, you know, he's gonna be food. Emphas is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with bright salad and... Okay, let me start that over. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with bright salad and depositing it in a plastic tray. A stack of chits rattle in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. Approach. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the Eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Enfys speaks in a deep, even tone, without looking up. First try is free. Thank him. The smell is almost unbearably strong. As he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. Hard life for a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Tell him a story. You begin to tell him about your journey to the Eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and the dark of the container, the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems you tell him like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the Eye excites you and scares you. You are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk some more. He smiles, but next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against the button on the burner side and shuts it off. The roar of flames and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you could turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearm, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Now we're no longer starving. Let's go. Repay Dragos, get to know Enfys, build a ship mine, and survive. Um, condition is some. Alright, let's get back to work a little bit. Let's see. No, but we did get some cryo now. So now we're putting in some work. And I think with that... Oh. You aren't finished. Oh, I need to go talk to Sabine. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the opened apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place. But now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few. Without a supply of stabilizer, your body will. You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look at the enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor, and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He's there to intimidate, to threaten, and if necessary, carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercenary teardrops. Subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers. You aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make a note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. "Send the next one in, Toshiro." The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and push through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel giving a full view of the bright market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above. For a moment, you're transfixed by the motion. "Come sit," calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. Okay, I can't speak apparently. The feature turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then they quickly regain their composure. "Please sit." They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. "Remain still, please." Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. "How long have you been on the station?" they ask, as the scanner is still to their eye. "A few cycles." They nod. "It's good you came to me." They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. "I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything." They take your arm, roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. "Your body is dying." They say it without ceremony, without trauma, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see their proprietary SNARP doesn't like their proprietary technology let loose to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They built in a process of so-called planned my brain's not braining right now, I'll be 100% honest. Um, SNARP doesn't like to see their proprietary, I guess, I don't know, their proprietary technology let loose. Prevents bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They built in they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence, abs, absolute, absolescence, I keep saying like ab, absolence. I think I'm probably fucking that up. I said it earlier, I think, but I think I said adolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one of which SNR remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? How do you know this? They shift in their seat. You aren't the first sleeper I've encountered. You wait for more, but they go back to their inspection. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the segregated systems. You have no rights, no status. They follow hard out on the inspection of your arm. And SNR has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes. Hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Tashira outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatakan. They are influential in the lower end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take their profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt. Mercenaries working for the corporation on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous. And it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away from the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just say, if this works first, I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof and see these. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Wow, look at that. And now, that is going to be where I end this part. It's great. Great game. Great OSTs. But here we are. Oh, never mind. We're still going. As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. Turn. Feng is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now. He puts hand on your arm. I seen you hanging around. Just want to chat. Stand in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it old Orland said? The eye opens for us all. The, the eye opens for us all. Nice idea, but, well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We pass together into the main walkway. Havenage. That's the word. You pass together. You pass together into the main walkway. Havenage. We are all one dysfunctional family. Fang puts an arm around you. I'm not a part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with systems. Havenage. Think of us as the administrative association for the eye. Depending on who you talk to, we either emerged for a respawn. Depending on who you talk to, we... Okay, hold up. Depending on who you talk to, we either Okay, I am struggling apparently. Depending on who you talk to, we either emerged as a response to or a continuation of Andire Erlin's original union. He smiles. Personally, I avoid the topic. He stops you in a quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I've been seeing some unusual network activity and, well, I know a little bit about you sleepers. I have a small proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not a place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare, then when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising his hand in farewell. Alrighty. And that, finally, is where we're going to end that. Great game. I'm really enjoying it. Definitely going to come back to it. Hopefully not in a month.